Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Wishwell Farms. In today's video, I will be sharing 3 things we are changing on our farm in 2025. So I am currently standing out here in the middle of our vegetable field on this frigid January day, and I believe it was in the teens this morning. It was not very comfortable, and even now it's barely 20 degrees and it's starting to snow and the wind is blowing. But I needed to come out here to show you one of our changes we are making to our operation next year. So for the last 20 years, I've been growing vegetables in this 10-acre field. Probably closer to 24 years in reality. Now, I have had some of our crops in some neighboring fields here, and not all in this one, but for the last probably 6 or 7 years, everything that has been planted on raised beds with plastic mulch and drip tape, like our high value warm season crops, have all went in this field. And I think it's time to rotate out of this field. I'm seeing some disease pressures that I haven't seen in a while. It seems like the insects were worse this year. Nutrition wise, I believe this field is still holding up well and producing great tasting crops, large crops, healthy crops for the most part. But I'm just seeing some things, little things here and there that has got me a little worried about continuing to put all of our crops in this field, kind of all of our eggs in one basket, so to speak. So I am rotating some of our crops out of this main field into 2 other fields. And I'm going to show you those overhead with the drone. It's going to be a lot easier for me to point this out with the drone. I am still planning to put some of our crops in this field, but not the entire field. That way, in 2026, I can still put crops in this field and not be on the same ground as I'm going to be in 2025. I can kind of move things around since I have more room in here now, because I am rotating to several other fields. So in this main field where I've been planting my vegetables for years and years, we're still going to plant about 16 rows in the front half and in the back half. So this is our front half. It's butts up against the Highway 68. And then we have like this driving area where the field's kind of split in half. Makes it easier to irrigate because these rows are about 500 feet long. You can't really irrigate with medium flow drip tape 1,000 feet. That's why I have the field divided in half. I don't know the exact length that is best for irrigating with low flow versus medium flow versus high flow. We use a medium flow drip tape, and it works great having our field split up into 2 500-foot sections. So that's why the main reason we do that. You can see over here what our brassica crops look like from the 2024 season. They are toast. Oh man, I can smell them. The wind's blowing right in my face and I can smell the rotting cauliflower and broccoli plants. Yeah, I never got them mowed down. Now, I wish I did have that mowed down, but it started getting muddy out and I just couldn't get out here to bush hog those all down and pull up the plastic or the drip tape. I don't need to pull the plastic up because that is biodegradable. But the main reason I didn't rush out here and try to get that done is because I can do that in the spring. It's no big deal because I'm not planting in the whole field, only the middle half. As you can see right here with the drone footage, 16 rows down the center is not going to take up too much space in this field. Let's hop in a Ranger and I'll go take you to these new fields where we're going to be laying some plastic and putting some of our high value warm season crops. All right, I'm currently in the first of 3 fields that we are rotating into for the 2026 growing season. And this first one is right here where last year's early sweet corn was. This is where I had our Bolt sweet corn, and it was there 3 years in a row. I did not want to plant Bolt sweet corn in the same place 4 years in a row. We're finally got to rotate out of this and put it in a new place. But I will be planting 12 to 16 rows in this field here. It has not had plastic in it for quite some time. I have planted strawberries in this field probably for nearly a decade. I had strawberries in this field on and off, and cauliflower, but it's been quite some time, so that'll be a good field to put some plastic in. And you can see it's right beside our main field, very close. So I am going to be careful about what crops I put in here. I don't want to put the same type of crops in both of these fields in case there's a disease outbreak that could spread from one field to the next because they are so close together. All right, we just have a short drive across the creek over to where the greenhouses are for the next field. All right, I'm currently in the next field where I chisel plowed up enough area to put down at least 8 rows, possibly 12 rows. And you can see it's right here by the grape greenhouse. So if you've been following my channel, you can see all of our greenhouses up there, our box trucks, my house, our farm market, all that good stuff. So this field right here was sweet corn last year. It's been sweet corn and green beans or pumpkins off and on over the years. But next year, well, this year, 2025, it will be raised beds on plastic mulch. The crops are yet to be determined. That's going to be for a later video once I get this all planned out. But I do know there will be plastic mulch here. All right, we got one more field, and then we're going to get out of this cold. Okay, I am now here in our third and final new field that we will be rotating some of our vegetable crops into. You can see there's some plastic right here. Those of you who have been following me through the season know what this is. Maybe. This is Joel's garlic. You can see all the holes down there. There's a little garlic sprout. Man, some of those are heaved up out of the ground. Looks like they're just starting to sprout. Little garlics. So he has about 20,000 garlic bulbs planted here. And I have a couple videos on his garlic. I'll link that in the description box below if you want to check that out. So this field here is where I had some green, I actually had my green beans here last year, but this has all been plowed up and ready to lay plastic in. We have enough room for about 8 or 12 rows of plastic here at our old dairy cow pasture. That's what we call it. This 3-acre field right here, butted up against the old dairy farm, was a pasture for our milk cows to come out into. So it always grows great crops, and I hardly ever have to put any kind of fertilizer in this field just because of all the years and years and years of cow manure in here. I was a 4th generation dairy farmer, so we've had dairy cows on our farm for well over 100 years until 2002 when we sold our dairy. Anyway, that is the third and final field. Now we're going to go talk about the second change we are making to our farming operation in 2025, and it's a pretty important one. But the most important one is the third and final thing we're changing. So stick around to the end of the video to find out what that is. But right now, I am getting out of this cold, and we're gonna go back to one of my greenhouses. I turned the heater on, and we're gonna get warmed up. And I'll show you what the second change is. Oh man, does it feel good to be out of that cold weather and in this nice warm greenhouse. I was running the heater the entire time we were out there filming in that cold winter weather, and it's now up to 58 degrees in here. It feels wonderful. So the second big change we're making on our farming operation in 2025 is growing a whole bunch of new crops that I have not grown on our farm in years. To be more specific, we're going to be trialing, not really trialing because I've grown these all before, it's just been a long time, trying out again 12 new vegetable crops and 20 varieties. So without further ado, I have my 2 vegetable catalogs out here where I am purchasing 99% of my crops this year. The only one I don't have out here is Seedway. I didn't get a 2025 Seedway catalog. I just ordered them online, but there was a few small items from Seedway that these 2 companies did not carry. So let's start off with the Gowan seed catalog, because there's only several items in here that I am purchasing from Gowan. And right here at cauliflower, I'm going to be trying some Clementine orange cauliflower and Vita Verde RZ green cauliflower. Here's a picture of them. I like the way the Clementine looks. It looks very vibrant, more orange than the Flame Star. And, you know, it could just be a picture difference. It might not really be that much difference in reality. But I do remember Flame Star always being just a little bit on the lighter orange side. So I like that darker orange color. I've never grown a green cauliflower before, so this will be something new to try on our farm. Vita Verde RZ. All right, the other item I'm getting from Gowan, I actually already have it on hand. I just didn't plant it in 2024, but we did plant Moneta beets for probably 3 or 4 years. We just skipped to 2024 because usually my kids, my boys, take care of the the beet part of the operation. But this year I'll be jumping in there and giving them a hand on the Moneta beets, and we'll plant a little bit more of those. The reason we plant Moneta and not some of these other ones that are very popular is because it is a mono-germ seed. They're like singulated. There's not like little clusters of seeds. And I don't want to go through the process of trying to break the seeds apart. So Moneta is already a single seed, and we plant those in our inserts, like these little trays over here you see. And then we transplant them on black plastic. The only other thing in the Gallon magazine catalog that we're trying is a new tomato variety called Maverick. A 72-day, large, deep, oblate, determinate tomato. All right, now into the Rupp Seeds catalog we go. Brussels sprouts. I almost can't believe I'm gonna try Brussels sprouts again. I'll probably end up regretting it because I never have any help picking them, and I don't want to be the one picking all those things. It is a big pain in the butt. I have had some demand for Brussels sprouts over the years when I didn't have them, so we are gonna try those again and see how they do. Here are the two varieties we're going to try. Capitola and Churchill. That's all I really have to say on Brussels sprouts. Next up, cabbage. Now, I've planted cabbage for probably almost 15 years, but I'm guessing it's been 5 years since I've grown it, so I'm willing to give it a try again. I just didn't have a lot of demand for it, and it's so big and bulky, it takes up so much space, and if there was something I was going to let go to try to minimize the amount of different crops I'm planting on my farm, cabbage was a good option. So that's why we quit growing it. But like I said, due to some customer demand, maybe just kind of wanting to test the market a little bit. Since it's been so long, I'm willing to give some of these crops a try again because maybe things have shifted at the markets, at our farmers markets a little bit. Maybe there's, there's new clientele, the younger generation's getting older, and maybe there's going to be some demand for some of these crops that I let go that I didn't have previously. So on the cabbage, I've planted all these before: Blue Dynasty, Blue Vantage, and Grand Vantage. I've planted Platinum Dynasty and Cheers. I've done Fast Vantage. It's kind of a small early one. So those are the three cabbages we're going to give a shot. Next up, sweet corn. I'm only trying one new variety of sweet corn this year. Cosmic. It's not even listed in their main section of their catalog where it gives a description of it, but it is down here in their price list, so they obviously have it. And I did order just I think 25 M of it to try out, which is just a little over an acre's worth. If you're interested in seeing an entire list of all the varieties of the crops we're planting, I have already made a long video. It's probably 45 or 55 minutes long of going through all my seed catalogs and explaining all the seeds that I'm purchasing for the 2025 season. I'll drop that one down below in the description box if you want to check out that video to see all the details of my seed order. I know many of you are going to be asking what all sweet corn varieties am I planting, so check out that video to see that, because there's probably 10 varieties and I'm not going to get into that right now. But Cosmic is the one new one we are going to try this year. It's a late variety. I'm always looking for a good new late variety instead of just those early ones or main season varieties. Next up, it's in the cucumber department, and it's not a cucumber. I'm not changing anything on my cucumber list this year, but I am going to try Pickles. Eureka Pickle. I grew pickles for many years, and I would probably say this is the most popular item that I have always had demand for, and I could always sell out of pickles. But I quit growing those because of how big of a pain in the butt it was to pick those. You almost have to go out twice a day during late July and all through August, when it's really, especially when it's really hot and sunny out. Pickles come on really quick, and they'll balloon up to huge, almost cucumber size if you miss a picking. So you got to go out there every day, and like I said, almost twice a day at the height of the season when it's really hot and muggy out in August. Well, we're going to give pickles another try this year, as I've been turning a lot of people away to go get their pickles at other farms. So we'll give it a shot. All right, here's a new one we're going to try. Jambalaya 2.0. Okra. We've tinkered around with a little bit of okra over the years, mainly my kids. I don't mess with it. My kids always were looking for something new to try, and we always get behind on it and get too big and woody. So we're going to give jambalaya okra a try this year. We're going to do it on a small scale, but we are going to plant a part of a row into okra. Next on the list is one new pepper. Now, I've planted many, many peppers over the years, every size, shape, and color you can imagine. But we've kind of settled on just planting green to red bell peppers, jalapeno peppers, and habanero peppers, because we use those three peppers in our value-added product that we call sweet pepper relish that we bottle up at our commercial kitchen at our old dairy farm. We're going to add some banana peppers to the list this year. So this year we're going to try some Sweet Sunset XR. That one right there. It looks like it's a yellow to red banana pepper. No pumpkins, once again, for 2025. Now, as I was flipping through those pumpkin pages, it got me thinking, you know, if I was going to add something back to our market mix on our farm, it probably should be pumpkins. We've had a good following of fall pumpkin sales, gourds, winter squash, corn shocks, straw bales, apple cider, all that good stuff. Indian corn, ornamental corn. We planted that stuff since 1999, and 2024 is the first year we did not grow it. I rather enjoyed not having to deal with pumpkins, because not only do you have to plant your rye cover crop, if you're planting them like we do on the no-till system, you have to plant that in September of the prior year. So I would have planted that this year, 2024, in September, and then you got to kill it somehow. And then you plant your pumpkins, and then you got to spray your pumpkins all through the summer, all through August and September, and then harvest the pumpkins and sell them. And I never have a big enough crew to harvest them. I could talk about reasons why or why not to grow pumpkins for a long time. I'm not going to get into all that. I've already explained it in many other videos. But that is the gist of why we're not doing pumpkins again. It's pretty nice. So I'm not ruling it out in the future. There's still a possibility we'll plant pumpkins again in the future, but not in 2025. All right, moving on. There's a yellow squash we're going to try. I've always had yellow squash. It seems like I go back and forth on it. We're going to try Blonde Beauty. It is a spineless variety. So you can see there, spineless petioles. I don't like picking yellow squash with the spines. Same with the zucchini. Next up, tomatoes. I'm adding 2 new tomatoes to the mix. There's one of them. Wind Up. You can see there it says new. This is one of Rupp's new offerings. So we're going to give that one a shot and see how it does. Along with the one in here I already showed you, which was Maverick. Now I'm also putting out some red deuce. I know a lot of growers plant red deuce on their farms. It's also great for high tunnel use, for planting in like covered structures. So I have planted red deuce several times in the past. I had a half-acre high tunnle. This is a half-acre is huge. That's like 2 to 3 times more than all my greenhouses combined right now. And you talk about a management nightmare. Oh my goodness, that was a terrible time in my life. 2009 to 2017. Whew, that was a rough time. But that was when I had the high tunnel, and we planted a half-acre of high tunnel tomatoes in there. And I remember doing red deuce. Now, there was a lot of nutritional issues that took place in our high tunnel, and I did not always have a lot of success in there. But we're going to give red deuce a try again in our grape tomato greenhouse. So our greenhouse that we grow our grape tomatoes in, with coconut coir slabs as the growing media, will be half grape tomatoes and half red deuce. Well, I might just do red deuce on 2 rows, and then we'll try another variety or 2 on the other row to see how they do. All right, we're almost through this catalog. And next up is watermelon. So I'm going to try some seeded watermelon again. We're going to plant 1 row of Jamboree and Sangria. For years and years, it seemed like the demand was just for seedless watermelon. So I really didn't have a big market for the seeded ones. But there's always a handful of old timers that swear the seeded ones are better. Most people these days, including myself, don't want to deal with watermelon seeds when they're enjoying watermelon. But there still is a little demand for seeded watermelon at mainly our Marysville satellite trailer market. Now, the problem with that is I always have limited space, so you know, maybe I'll have room to put a dozen on there every day. I don't know. We're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. Now, there's also one new seedless watermelon we're going to try, Sandbar. The main reason I'm going to try Sandbar is because it's a dark mottled stripe. Not the jet black ones like this or like that, like Sweet Jim. But these are your regular crimson colored stripes. I like the ones that are a little bit darker. Like the way that one looks on that yellow one. And there's El Capitan, however you say it. That one's a really good one. We grow that one too. But see how the stripes are a lot darker on those melons. And that's the way Sandbar is. So that's why we're going to try Sandbar to go along with El Capitan and Red Garnet. All right, I think that's it. All right, there you have it. Those are the 20 varieties of vegetable crops that we're going to give a try on our vegetable farm in 2025. Now for the third and final change. It's not in this greenhouse. It's out in my barn. Let's go check it out. All right, the third and final change coming to our farm in 2025 might just be one of the most important changes. And it's right here in this here box. Precision planting. Some of you probably know what this is already. Let's get it out and see what we got here. Some of you know what this is, some of you may not. This is a finger pickup planting unit for my John Deere corn planter. So, I got a 4-row John Deere 7000 corn planter that I use for sweet corn, green beans, and I used to use it for pumpkins. And they go in these hoppers. So that is a corn hopper. The unit will bolt onto that. The unit will bolt right onto that corn hopper, and it has these fingers inside. I can't take one apart right now, but it singulates your corn seed or your bean seed. Well, not your bean seed. For green beans, I use bean cups. These are just for sweet corn only on my farm. And the reason I got these is because my other ones were getting worn out. About every 3 or 4 years, I would send them in to get tested to see how good the singulation was. And what that means is how well is it grabbing one seed and how often is it skipping a seed. Now, those of you who do not have farms or plant any sweet corn, the reason this is important is that, especially on a high value crop like sweet corn, anytime you have a skip where it doesn't pick up a corn seed, that is a missed opportunity to harvest an ear of corn, which is potentially about $1 in sales, right? And if you have the meter pick up 2 kernels at the same time and plant 2 kernels together, you're going to have 2 ears of corn come up side by side, and both ears will end up being like miniature ears, not fully developed ears, or they just don't get the nourishment, the nutrients that they need for optimal growth. And then you'll have 2 unmarketable ears. So you could potentially have 2 ears together that are not big enough to sell, and then a blank one where a skip was. So there you have 3 missed ears, $3 potentially, depends how you're selling your corn. If you're going by the ear, which a lot of our corn is sold by the ear or in small increments, it's almost 75 cents to $1 per ear, retail market value. So it's very important to have good singulation. And going back to my old units, which are right here, I had them tested and they only were singulating at about 91%. And that is unacceptable. Maybe 91 to 93 is what they said. They like to see 97 to 99. Sweet corn's a little tougher to get that 98 to 100% singulation because the seed is so shrunken, like wrinkly and small and shrunken. And especially the varieties I plant, the SH2s, which stands for shrunken, the super sweets, the kernels are so small that these finger pickup units can, from time to time, plant a double or a skip. It's not as precise as planting the large field corn kernels. So when they told me that they were only getting 91 to 93% singulation, they recommended new units. They're not really that expensive. It's $230 for each unit. If you look on eBay, Amazon, or any kind of parts supply store around the country, They're always around that $230 to $250 a unit. So for new ones, these are brand spanking new, never even been used. So by the time I would put money into replacing parts on my old units, I was going to be over half the price of a new one. So it just made sense to buy new units. All right, that is the third big change coming to our farm in 2025. And I'm not saying big because of how big this purchase was. You know, these things cost me over $900 for the 4 units, but I'm expecting big returns because of the better singulation of my expensive corn seed in our sweet corn field. I will bring you guys back to show you the difference this May when the corn crop has emerged, so you can see firsthand how much better the singulation is with these new units. Don't forget, if you are interested in checking out the seed video where I went through all my seed catalogs in detail and showed you exactly what I'm purchasing for our farm in 2025, check out that video link down in the description box, and I will also put it right here. This is where we're going to wrap up this video today, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all again real soon down on the farm.